I'm Stu, I'm ECD of DesignStudio, and I'm going to be talking about Premier League rebrand. The reason I'm showing it tonight is because we had to soft launch it because of the trademarking. So when you trademark anything, it's public viewing, so we didn't want it to leak. So I can only really give a snapshot, but I think by the start of the season you'll see it kind of everywhere. I'm a big fan of Glug, I've been waiting for the invite for a few years now. You've got to do something like the Premier League to get invited to Glug, you see.
I'm struggling to think of any reasons why going last is a good idea. The microphone batteries are flat, you all are probably desperate for a wee, and I've got to follow 5 amazing speakers, so I'll try my best, but thanks guys for really inspiring talks, and thanks for inviting me. Right, so I'm lucky enough to be the ECD of DesignStudio in London. We have an office in Dufferin Street around the corner, and we've got an office in San Francisco, and we like to say 2 offices, 1 door. And like you said, we've been lucky enough to work with some brilliant clients in our short space of time. And but today I'm going to talk about the Premier League. I was going to talk about Logitech, but me and Nick had a bit of a to-do about the G, so I kind of ruled that one out. It's okay. There's 2 things I want to say before we get started. One is, the only reason I'm talking about this today is because of trademarking. So it's a soft launch from the Premier League. When you trademark anything, after a month it becomes public, and they knew it was going to get busted. So we did a soft launch. So I can only show you a certain amount of stuff today. The second thing is, I'm simply the orator. The amazing talent who actually created this are in the room today, and there's more of them back at the studio, but it's by no means me. I'm just here to talk you through it. So, Premier League, what an amazing thing. I could talk all day about this. We were lucky enough to win a pitch against a number of agencies, and I think the reason we won that pitch is not because we were better, we just wanted it more. We just really wanted it. And once we won the pitch, the brief was quite simple. It was 2 brands, turn 2 brands into 1 brand. So the corporate brand here, which you never really see, this guy, and then the Barclays League brand. It was a mess. So remove the clutter and the noise and the complexity and try and make something really simple. And try and make something digital and broadcast first. So Premier League's been going for 25 years. There's never been a more prominent time for them to be broadcast and digital first. It's a global brand. There's billions of people watching it worldwide, and the brand just wasn't fit for purpose. It didn't work 25 pixels square, so that had to change. Now, the whole reason for the rebrand was reputational change. So the Premier League have just got £8 billion for the global rights of football, and not everybody's happy about that, weirdly. So, you know, the truth is that football has changed, and it's never going back to that working class beauty that it used to have. It's a global brand, it's a global phenomenon. So this was our brief, to try and drive reputational change through creativity. And that simply means talking about all the amazing things that the Premier League does, not just the thing that happens on a Saturday. So they do events, they do tournaments, they work with underprivileged children, they're in every primary school in the country. They donate millions of pounds. None of us know, none of us care. We're not interested because Premier League is bad. The other issue is it's pretty shit. So one-dimensional, corporate, blue, shouty, everything you don't want to be as a brand. And they've been invisible for 25 years. Barclays have done all the talking for them. They've happily given away that stage to a sponsor. This is the first year that they're going sponsor-free, so an incredible opportunity to go center stage and tell their story for the first time. So the first thing we did is the thing we love, is play football, and that's a sweaty me down there. But we started playing football, we were going to games, taking photographs, all that stuff, getting really under the skin of it. The second thing we did was engage a fan panel of about 2,000 people, and it was pretty clear what came back. The Lion, really important. 90% of fans think of the Lion when they think of the Premier League. When you study people's eye movement across the original logo, it naturally goes to the head of the Lion. That's the thing you engage with. It's a warm thing. The main reason is it's connected to the trophy, it's connected to England, and we're all very passionate about that. So the client said to us, start with the trophy. The story starts with the trophy. So there's 2 lions on the trophy here. The third lion is the captain who picks up the trophy at the end of the season, the winning team. That's a great story. Sorry. I forgot to say. So we were lucky enough to have the actual trophy in our studio, and it's monitored 24 hours a day by these 2 really big bodyguards. But man's got to eat, so they popped out for lunch, and we went to town, kissing it, running around the studio, just like little kids, but it was wonderful. Paul, I'm sorry, I know I wasn't supposed to show that. We even spoke to this professor of human-animal studies at a university, and his talk about why lions are such significant symbols in humanity, in cave drawings, in art and culture, and all those things. And there's some really good quotes in here about, it actually says that lions play like a football team. They all have different roles to play. So there's some really nice bits in there. It's actually really hard to draw a lion. I don't know if anyone else has had this problem, but it's actually quite difficult. So we did lots of drawing. Fred over there did some wonderful drawings. And while we were doing that, so we knew the lion was important. It was at the heart of everything that we're doing. I think it was the Daily Mail, broke this story out of nowhere that the Premier League is going to cull the lion from its badge in the brand overhaul. Total bullshit, but that spread like wildfire. And yeah, kind of interesting because we were busy drawing lions and really struggling and maybe thinking that it'd be good to drop the lion because we couldn't crack it. And then obviously the Cecil thing comes out and all this stuff. So yeah. Interesting. And what's great is you think, when you put a brand up on brand new or some work up and it gets critiqued by designers, you think that's bad. Try doing a football brand. This is my favourite one. Can't believe they're removing Cecil the Lion from the Premier League logo. Fucking cunts. Anyway, slight diversion, but we were busy on our track, and we were kind of enjoying seeing how bad journalism has got. It's really, really bad. And we were doing lots of insight and research. And one of the key things was said by Richard Masters, who's this wonderful MD of the Premier League. He's a really nice guy. And basically, all Premier League communication is stat-based. So we've built 458 artificial pitches. We spent this much money. We've done that. But we're not really talking about what happens on them, the life change on them, the human story. And that was like the big insight to us, that this needs to be about human stories, about that individual who benefited from that investment, not the chest-beating Premier League saying how much cash they've spent. So as part of the pitch, we were asked to come up with a strapline, and this is what we came up with. And this came from an insight, speaking to people, that what makes the Premier League really special and really sellable around the world is not just the electric football you see on the pitch every weekend, but it's the capacity stadium. It's the Liverpool fans going crazy with all the flags. And we had this simple maths thing, whereas 1 + 1 = 3. The electric football capacity crowd equals magic. And this idea that an acknowledgement, the Premier League acknowledging that we all have a part to play in making this the most successful league in the world. So this strapline is a direct call to action on that. I'm not sure why this is it. We weren't allowed to talk about it, so I put some stuff on Instagram with loads of lions' heads missing. I think it was to do with the newspaper articles. But we came up with this. You've all seen it. Why did we come up with this? Well, we talk about the lion, and that being really important. It also needs to be digital and broadcast first. So this needs to work really small, which it does. It's also, the Premier League is not a club. It's not steeped in hundreds of years of history. It's a 25-year-old business. Football existed long before the Premier League did. So it's a brand. It's not a shirt badge. It's not a club. It's a brand. And we want this to be an icon for the Premier League going forward, to the point where we don't even need to say Premier League. There's some technical things we fixed, like if you invert the current Premier League logo, it looks like a naughty Santa. So we wanted to fix that, which I can do later. Okay, But we did have to do a word mark, and for us has got a reason why it is. So we wanted to be a warm, down-to-earth brand, very communicative and approachable. So this typeface felt really a good fit for us. And the idea that this is going to disappear and the idea that logos are changing, you know, when I first started, it was all about trying to create that amazing smile in the mind logo where there's a great idea in it. That thing just isn't important anymore. It's important that the thing works really small and it's functional. So what was really important was a flexible system where you can lock it up in different ways. So whatever format, whatever way it's being presented, there's a way of fitting it. So hundreds of iterations I showed you at the beginning. There's a few here, but they're all fit for purpose. And ideally, you know, as a brand guys, everyone wants to do a logo that sits next to these fellas, but we feel it can do and it will do. It needs to be filled with meaning. It needs change within the business to happen. It needs a way ticket prices to be fixed. It needs the Premier League to be a great business. And when that gets filled with meaning, this logo can stand alone and be really powerful. One of the other things we did was create this really vibrant color palette, which sounds easy, but if you've been to Gloucester Place and you see the suits in the boardroom, in the beige boardroom with the beige suits, it's quite a feat to get them to buy into something like this. And one of the key guys said, "It's amazing, you know, we've got this pink. I hate it, but I'm really glad that we can be pink." It was like a moment for them to feel less macho and standoffish. We've created a typeface with monotype called Premier League Sans, which was really fun. And we're busy working on a shirt name and number typeface for next season. The other thing we've been doing is trying to find these human stories in everyday life. So the 360 of football. So we've been going to every stadium and photographing these little moments that happen around the football. So the football is really important, always will be. But it's those moments where, you know, what it means to him to be a football fan, getting his shirt signed by Jamie Vardy, and those human stories, and we're writing stories around it. So there's going to be lots more to see in the future when the new season starts. We also created these graphic textures, which they look cool, but they're also really functional because there's so much stuff that the Premier League has to do in terms of badging and branding and just applying it to things that this human stories thing that we're talking about won't always be possible. This idea that this kind of cool graphic system can give it some real energy. And if you think where they are right now, it's quite a step forward to even be showing this. And wheat pasting, we actually wheat pasted the studio when this launched, but again, this very formal, this very corporate entity being able to be street, we thought was quite important. And again, just thinking about, you know, these guys are a rights holder. They're not Nike, they're not United, they're somewhere in the middle. But when you start to look at the other competitor set, I mean, look at that. That's fucking terrible. This guy, I mean. So, you know, I think we've managed to make great progress with the Premier League, and it starts today, and we're really busy doing lots of stuff to bring this to life across digital, across broadcast, across advertising, all the different touch points. And we're really excited for you guys to see that when it launches. It just looks good. There's not much to say. Obviously, you get the kind of bad press. The Guardian really went to town on us, actually. They attacked me personally, and they run a very successful campaign to get people to design a better Premier League. So I think they nailed that.
Stu, which was your favourite? The Robbie Savage one, maybe?
It's hard to pick.
Or the Airbnb
one. Yeah, it's got previous. But, you know, it's great to be working on a project where people care, whether they like it or not. It doesn't matter. It's good to be in the vernacular, in the conversation. And I will never buy The Guardian again, but I'm really glad that they took such personal beef with me. And this is just vilification, whatever, because the only woman my wife seems to be in love with is Gary Lineker, and he loves the Premier League logo. He says, "Overwhelmingly excited to see the Premier League's new logo. I mean, look at his face. Just look at his face. So Gary's happy. So big kick-off this season. You're going to see lots of this around. I'd love to chat to anyone after and see what you guys think. It's had a mixed response. That's fine. We're grown-ups. But you know, one of the proudest moments of my career, and I think for DS as well, something really special and something that we don't take for granted. And absolute team effort. These are the amazing people that made it happen. And I think that's it. Yeah, thank you.